Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Helen Davis. I'm the interim department director for the education department at UCLA Extension, and I'm very pleased to introduce our program. We have a program for teaching English to speakers of other languages, also known as TESOL. Today, we're going to talk to you a little bit about what people enjoy about our program and what you can do with the certificate. I'm pleased to introduce my colleague, Kris Lambert.
Hi, I'm Kris Lambert, and I'm an instructor at UCLA Extension, and I'm happy to be with you today to talk to you a little bit about our TESOL program.
So we're here to talk today about an introduction to the TESOL program at UCLA Extension. The TESOL program has 6 courses, an introductory course, 4 core courses, and 1 Practicum Portfolio course. I'm very excited to talk with Kris Lambert, one of our distinguished instructors. She will tell us a lot about the parts that the students like the best. In particular, I think one of the real strengths of our program is that we have a short course at the beginning of the TESOL certificate, and the short course goes through some critical pieces about how to observe in a classroom and also about how to create lesson plans. Kris, tell us a little bit about that first short course.
Absolutely. So the introduction course is really a key course to the program because it helps all the students become familiar with what is expected in the entire program. It's a 2-week course, and again, the whole program is fully online, which is fantastic because students can work from anywhere in the world to get this certificate. The 2-week introduction course will go over what is needed for observations, and this entire program does require in-class observations. So we brainstorm about where you can observe and what to look for in your observation that is critical to each core course. The students will also be making video lessons, and this is a key component to our entire instruction, and it's fantastic to be able to share these videos. We take a subject, depending on whatever course they are in. They record themselves teaching. This can be in front of friends or family or even an audience if they have one. And then they have to present that lesson to their classmates. So this helps to give them real world experience, even though they're not in a classroom yet. And then they also, the observations in each of the courses help them to have a critical eye about what they need to focus on when they are actually teaching.
So, Kris, tell me a little bit about how these observations are happening in the time of COVID and whether that component of the program has changed a little bit. And also tell me a little bit about how the observations happen when it's possible to get into the classroom.
Absolutely. So because of COVID, we've been a little flexible, and each core course has a list of online observations. And those are unique to each core course because that instructor needs to decide what it is his or her students should be looking for specifically in an observation. So during COVID, they will be observing online courses that are chosen from the instructor. And then when our life gets back to normal, they will be given a chance to actually go into a classroom to observe, which obviously is what we would ideally prefer them to do. And they would brainstorm. It's up to them because people in this course are taking these courses from all over the world. So you are responsible for kind of seeking out where you can observe, whether even it's the local library where there's English courses, the local university, the elementary school, the private school down the street. Each student is going to be required to seek those observations out, and then they will be guided on what exactly they should be looking for, and they will write up a report after they observe.
I keep hearing students tell me that this short course, the Introduction to the TESOL program, is really fabulous. Can you talk a little bit about why the students connect so well to this class?
Absolutely. So first of all, having this introduction course really puts students at ease. They make a connection with me, the instructor in that course. They can call me, they can have a Zoom call with me, we can email back and forth. I give them whatever support they need to be successful in the program. So a lot of times when you start a new program and you're not really sure what to expect, there's a lot of anxiety that goes along with that. So this introduction course really alleviates that anxiety, and they are also really getting to know their other classmates. So there's a whole group of students that go through the courses together. So they become friends with each other, they network, and often even it could lead to a job at the end through the connections that they've made in the program.
Thank you so much, Kris. Let me tell you a little bit more about the required courses. There are 4 core courses. There are 6 total courses in the program. And when you do all 6, that's the completion of your certificate. The short course, the introductory, is at the beginning. And then you take 4 core courses. You can take them in any order. And then there is a practicum portfolio at the end that combines the practicum experiences that you've had in each of the core courses. Kris, could you talk a little bit about what those core courses bring to the student who wants to be a teacher to speakers of other languages?
Absolutely. So again, what you said was each of the 4 core courses can be taken in any order. And that is key because often we have students who are trying to get through this program really quickly. And then other times we have students who have normal day jobs that can't execute on their program all at once. And so they'll take one class at a time, maybe over a couple year period, while other people are trying to get this done quickly within a year and even less than a year. So each core course is specific to a different subject. For example, one of them is methods of teaching English as a second language. And in that course, that instructor goes through all the methods that you should be familiar with when teaching, as well as a guided video lesson that you will create that incorporates what you've learned about the methods.
One of my favorite courses is the Cultural Perspectives and Teaching Methods course because it's a course not just about strategies for how to present material to people who are learning English. It's also about the broader context. Language is culturally embedded, and so there are language pieces that have to do with cultural values, that have to do with modes of interacting with people, communication, pragmatics of communication. And this course really gives a good framework of the understanding of cultural differences and how learning a language has to include that whole context. The Introduction to Linguistics course is how to teach some of the logistical parts of language having to do with the way that our language is constructed in terms of grammar, in terms of language pragmatics. So this is really a theoretical basis to the English language to support the teachers who are going to be teaching English to people who have not had the natural experience with English.
One of my favorite courses to teach is the technologies course. And this course, I've heard from so many students that it has helped them immensely during this time of COVID, where some people were teaching in the classroom and who have now gone to fully online teaching. The technologies course goes over video recording, assessments online, Kahoot apps, Duolingo apps, and just a multiple of ways to connect with your students in the classroom through all the changing technology today. And the other important thing about this class is it's constantly changing and constantly being updated. So no 2 quarters are alike. Because of our changing society so fast, the course is constantly being updated with what's going on today in our society, with our latest apps, with our latest technology. And it's such a fun, creative course to be a part of. And then finally, I'd like to tell you about the Practicum Portfolio. And this course brings everything together that students have done in all of the core courses. And it's brought together in one cohesive digital portfolio. I have one student who actually said she got a job offer from what she created in her digital practicum portfolio. And interestingly enough, she did such a fantastic video editing job on her portfolio that she got a job offer in teaching, but that had to do with video editing. So you never know where these courses are going to lead you, and she's doing that now before she actually lands her dream job in the classroom. But that was all because of the Practicum Portfolio and how we worked together to put all of the core pieces together in a digital portfolio.
Kris, this digital practicum portfolio draws from practicum experiences that happen in each of the core courses. And can you tell me a little bit about the kinds of projects people do?
Yes, so the practicum really caters towards each individual student. And the reason why is because we want them to actually hit their goals with whatever job it is that they're trying to land, or whatever their need to be successful in their career. So oftentimes we have people who are excited to work in the classroom, and it's almost a digital resume, so to speak. It takes components from each of the core courses. Again, we decide together, the instructor and the students decide, along with the core teachers, on what would best showcase their best work. They combine those together. Many of them do a Prezi presentation, or some of them develop their own website. They also integrate their videos from each class. They put an introduction as well as a final wrap up. And depending again on what it is they are trying to accomplish, that digital portfolio will be geared towards that.
Kris, I have another question for you about the kinds of jobs that people get with a TESOL certificate and where they work in the world.
So the TESOL certificate nowadays is really very necessary. Some people are looking to work at private schools, teaching English as a second language. Some people are wanting to retire and move to Spain to teach English. No matter what your goal is, if you are wanting to teach English, it's pretty important that you have the certificate. If you are a normal elementary school teacher or a secondary school teacher, many of those students are also coming back to get a supplementary TESOL certificate to accompany their regular teaching credential. So when I ask students later on who have actually been employed from this, if this was necessary, I've had almost everybody tell me that it is. Again, it depends on if you're teaching at a private school, if you're teaching at a public school. So you would have to reach out to the school that you are wanting to work at and ask them what is required. But it is very important, not only for the certificate, but also for your own confidence as a teacher, to have gone through this program where you feel like you can indeed teach, and you have all of these great ideas and great skills that you have learned through the program.
You have talked about students teaching in a variety of settings. They're teaching in schools, they're teaching in the corporate world, they're teaching in the community. This might be in the United States, might be abroad. Kris, can people teach children and adults with this certificate?
Absolutely. That's the great thing about this certificate. It's for every age.
One of the questions that we get a lot is, how is a TESOL certificate different from a certificate that allows you to teach English language learners in the K-12 system? In the United States, that is a part of the credential for teachers. So a TESOL certificate is, in the United States, not what you need for the credential to teach K-12 English language learners.
Teachers in the United States who are credentialed teachers in K through 12 also benefit from having a TESOL certificate. Especially in California, the TESOL certificate is really valued with all of our English language learners that are in the public school system and the private school system. So if you are a credentialed K through 12 teacher, which this is a certificate, this is different than being a credentialed K through 12 teacher, this will certainly supplement and help to get you hired.
Kris, how is our TESOL program different from other TESOL programs?
The TESOL program at UCLA Extension is so unique because it combines so many different components of teaching that, in my experience, normal TESOL certificates don't. You have the component of the introductory class, you have the component of the observations, and you also have the uniqueness of the video and interaction in every single course. So the students in this program really get to know each other, they get to know their instructors, and they have a unique sense of community that I don't feel most programs do. We also, the brainstorming of ideas and just the networking that happens in this program is very unique and what makes this program so successful.
One of the things that I get really excited about with the program is that the instructors are pretty connected and have had regular meetings to talk about, what do we want this program to do? What do we want to have students experience from one course to the other?
I agree, and I think the instructors being connected and also the instructors being excited about the program really flows over to the students. The instructors are all available. So instead of being a number in a course, you are really part of a course that is connecting on a daily basis. Again, I connect directly with each one of my students, whether it via Zoom, over the phone, email. All the time I have a direct connection with each student. So you're not just a number in a classroom, which can be sometimes isolating when you're in an online course. And these courses do not feel isolating at all.
What is the difference between our TESOL certificate and a TESOL TEFL?
It's called TESOL, but by getting the certificate, you are prepared also to teach in another country.
A TESOL certificate is teaching English to speakers of other languages, and it covers speakers in all countries. So it's designed to give you the skills to be able to present English and help people to learn English, whether or not they're living here in the United States or whether they're living in their home countries. TESOL and TEFL are two subparts of the whole of TESOL. TESOL is teaching English to second language learners. So that would be people who live in the United States and are English language learners. TEFL is teaching English as a foreign language. So that would be people who are perhaps living in their home country where their home language is not English. So TESOL combines both TESOL and TEFL into one coordinated approach.